Welcome back to a continuation of our Star Wars API. We have loaded all of our data. Retrieved it, we've expired it, we found the new links, and we've loaded it all. And so we're completely full. I can say select count URL here. Select count URL from swapi. So we're all good. We got 207 documents loaded, and so let's play. All right, so we can look for the URL inside the body tag and convert it. Right, so there we got a string. We can ask for the URL of body where it contains director : George Lucas. So we can have a where clause. It's working now. Now again, there's no indexes involved in here, right? We don't have an index yet. So if we do an explain, we're going to find that that just is a sequential scan. Select body URL from swapi where body contains director George Lucas. And it's a sequential scan. It's exactly what we'd expect. We haven't put anything in. So let's go ahead and insert 4,000 meaningless rows of Dodge Neon race car SQL. It doesn't even have a URL field or nothing, so it's just extra crud, 4001. And now we're going to create our index. We're going to create a generalized reversed index, swapi gen on the body with path ops. And so JSON path ops gives me the key value pairs and allows me to look up my key value pair. It's kind of the smoother thing. So, and then we got to be careful because it might take a little while. Let's take a look at, let's do an explain select to see if we can turn this select body URL from swapi where body contains George Lucas. Well, it's done already, so I don't have to go about the thing of like, hey, let's wait a while. Sometimes it happens fast, sometimes it doesn't happen fast. But if you do this explain select and it doesn't get you what you want, wait a bit, have a cup of coffee, come back. Shouldn't be too much coffee. Okay, so we got an index. So there we go. So let's like look at some stuff here. Let's say I want to find the films that aren't George Lucas. So we can say, what are the films that George Lucas was the director of? Do that. Boom. There's 4 of them. So let's see if we can figure out find the films that George Lucas is not the director of. So I put a big not around this, not body contains George Lucas, JSON B. I cast that to JSON B. And whoops, we got a whole bunch of URLs. A lot of URLs, not so good, right? Oh, and there's even blanks. There's even pages. Some of those pages are giving me trouble because I put all that extra crud in to make it big. But so we can fix that with another where clause, right? We can say, we can ask what are the things where the body URL is got a pattern of HTTPS, swapi, co, API films followed by something. So we can use a like clause. So we can, of course, do that. And then we'll find only the films. So those are the films. There's only 6 records that contain films. And if we do an explain, we will be bummed out because we'll see that it's a sequential scan. Now, one of the things you probably could do is you could say, you know what, I think what I'm going to do is put a B-tree index on body URL, and that should hit on the prefix queries, we could see. But we can look for the films that aren't directed by George Lucas. The Star Wars films not directed by George Lucas by saying not body contains director George Lucas and body is like a film, is a film. So that will do it and we will find it, but that will be a sequential scan. So that will show us the films, the 3 films in the Star Wars that were not directed by George Lucas, which is fun. So so we can do this like clause. We can see, the URL, the people clauses. We can see the people. with a like clause, and you can, in a sense, you could think of the prefix of this URL as a type. You can see all the species and their URLs, right? And that would be kind of a useful thing to do, but it means that everything is a sequential scan. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little effort and we're going to hack the JSON. Okay, we're going to hack the JSON. We've done this before, and so we're going to hack the JSON by a regular expression. And so first I'm going to show you the regular expression. The regular expression is HTTPS swapi co API, and then parenthesis is the start of an extraction, bracket A through Z is the letters A through Z, plus means one or more, and the extraction. So if you run this, all it's going to do is the regular expression extraction on the URL. But you see that it says films. If I make this limit 10, see film, species, whatever. Now I want to, so these nulls are those neon records that I put in, so don't worry too much about that. Now, if you recall in the previous thing, when we're going to mess with the JSON itself, we have to ultimately use the concatenation operator here. We're going to have to do the JSON B concatenation. This is a string concatenation, vertical bars concatenation. So eventually we've got to do a JSON B concatenation, which means we're going to eventually construct a big long string and then convert it to JSON B and then merge that into body, just like we did before. So let's start by looking at this string, which is really a string concatenation here. Type, colon, concatenated with the regular expression that pulls the word, the type out, and then a double quote. So first we've got to build a string that represents the new JSON that we want to put in. And so this is a string, type colon films, right? That is the new JSON. Now, in order to blend it with existing JSON B, that's a JSON string, we've got to cast that to JSON B by adding the JSON B cast on there, right? So we'll cast that to JSON B. So it's going to look roughly the same, except that this is JSON B, a type of JSON B, which means we can blend it together. And so if we now look at this, we're going to select the body. This is going to be gigantic. Concatenated, a JSON concatenation, not a string, of this big long string converted to JSON B. And so I'll select this, but it'll be really big. Yeah. So somewhere in here, let's find it. Let's find it. Let's find type. Type film, right? So we got the URL, but we extracted this little bit in type films. Okay, so we've added a bit to the JSON, and we've done this. Well, we added one to a count in one of the previous examples, but now we've added something to this JSON, right? So we're going to do an update, which is again this whole body concatenated with JSON B. That's the record we just selected. So we're going to take and extract the body, pull out the body for all of the records, set it to be add the type variable to it. So this is going to do it for all the records. So it updated 4,208 records, and if you now you can select those records. Select swapi body from. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, wrong. Body type, comma body URL from swapi limit 5. What did I get wrong? Swapi limit 5. Oh, those I'm getting too many of the blank ones, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, so now I've added that. So now I can use this in a where clause, right? Select body URL from swapi, where body is type species, right? Limit 10. So I'm going to pull out the URL, and then I'm going to use a where clause, which will actually find me some stuff. And that's because these blank ones, it went past the blank ones and got to some that actually had type equals species. Because these neon, those are all the neon ones that I just did so the dang thing would actually do my explains the right way. So I now have this new thing. I can talk to it. My index should understand it. And so I should be able to explain that. And if all goes well, the new field that I did should do a bitmap check, swapi gin. This update statement here, it updated it, and then within like a couple of seconds, the gin was up to date. And if I'd have done this update and like right away did the explain select, the index might not have been completely updated. So these indexes lag a little bit, and this is where I keep saying that the insert performance, update performance versus the query performance. And gin is this is a gin with text ops, so it's the most difficult to update. But with only 4,001 records, it's only a few seconds. And so that shows you how to like augment it, which is another thing. And so now I can actually say, you know, show me what's going on with George Lucas. And let's actually just run that select statement, select URL, George Lucas. And I can explain that, and let me not that. And you add a not, oops, not a note. And I sure hope that I'm going to get my index to work, because I worked really hard to make this work. So we're saying, oh, I think I got my not parentheses wrong here. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, coding right in front of you. Hopefully I get it right. This is not as easy as it looks. Let's see if I got it. No. What happened? What just happened? The body doesn't contain George Lucas type films. Oh, yeah. So this is not going to work because this is all the things that don't have the combination of type films. So let me try to fix this. It's going to take a little work. Let's see if I can make this work. So the first not and body contains type films. Let's get this one right. So what I'm going to say is I'm looking for things that have the body that contain type films. Oh, I have an extra parenthesis back there. It would probably be better if I flipped this. It would make more sense if I flipped this to the end. It would make more sense to me, at least. So if I got my syntax right, I'm interested in URLs that have a body of type films and do not have the director of George Lucas. And so I got to have my parentheses. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's going to work. Boom. Yes! Now comes the big test. Oops. Get rid of those. Those aren't any fun. Those don't teach us anything. The always payoff is, did I get this in a way that my indexes worked? And I sure hope so. So let's run the explain. Hello, Postgres. Did my indexes work? Yay, my indexes worked. I always feel great when I don't see sequential scan. I see a heap scan. I see that swapi gin worked. So there you go. You will see this without the mistake. There we go. Type is films and body is not and the director is not George Lucas. There are three films in the Star Wars set for which George Lucas was not the director. And that is all I have for you. I hope, as always, that you found this demonstration useful. Cheers.